Embattled Ivory Coast President Laurent Gbagbo is ordering police and army officials to search all United Nations vehicles as he cranks up the pressure on the world body. His government is also standing defiant in the face of threats of further economic sanctions. VOA West Africa correspondent Scott Stearns has more.
The European Union has frozen the assets of Ivory Coast's main cocoa ports, its state oil firm, its main energy utility, its national broadcaster, and 3 banks, because European leaders say those firms help fund what they call the illegitimate government of incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo. The U.S. Treasury Department has frozen Mr. Gbagbo's assets and barred American citizens from doing business with his government. Gbagbo's government says European and American businesses have far more to lose from those sanctions than Ivorians.
The world does not stop at Europe or America. We can go anywhere in Africa, South America, or Asia to get everything we need. As a consequence, if they do not want us any longer, they are the ones who lose, because we can buy what we need elsewhere. But they cannot find cocoa elsewhere. They are forced to come to Ivory Coast.
African Union mediator Raila Odinga says there will likely be additional sanctions if Mr. Gbagbo does not agree to hand over power to the internationally recognized winner of Ivory Coast's election, former Prime Minister Alassane Ouattara.
I think President Gbagbo is also seeing that the news is closing, that the options are actually reducing, and that he has no other chance but to negotiate a safe exit. I've told him as much that this is a chance he has to take, which will guarantee him some security, either in retirement or to be able to engage in politics in Cote d'Ivoire or in exile.
Mr. Ouattara says sanctions must be properly targeted against Mr. Gbagbo and his government so as not to affect Ivorian civilians, many of whom are still struggling in an economy hurt by a brief civil war and the political divisions that have followed.
All the measures we back should target those responsible for the situation. Laurent Gbagbo, his government, his entourage, and of course, the soldiers who support him. But I want to spare the large majority of the population.
West African leaders are considering military force to remove Mr. Gbagbo. Mr. Ouattara says it now appears that may be necessary.
It is lamentable that after all these mediations, everyone realizes that the only solution is to make Laurent Gbagbo live with other measures, including force, a legitimate force.
The United Nations is sending another 2,000 peacekeepers to Ivory Coast, where it says its troops are increasingly attacked by pro-Gbagbo security forces and allied militia. UN peacekeepers are also being blocked from visiting sites of suspected mass graves. The Gbagbo government no longer accepts Mr. Odinga's African Union mediation because it says he's siding with Mr. Ouattara. So diplomatic options to this crisis appear to be closing, just as West African military leaders meet to decide what to do next in Ivory Coast. Scott Stearns, VOA News, Dakar.